Hello, and welcome here on my YouTube channel, and welcome to this Thursday's stitched circle show challenge. And it is week 2, and this was the first piece we made here in week 1. And I will put a link below in the description box. That is not a description box anymore, but there's a little under the video a word that says more. Click on that, and there you will find the information. And I will put a link there for the playlist for this challenge. And instead of using all my time today explaining up and down what this is about, look at the video from the first week. I will explain everything there. By the way, my name is Lisbeth, and I'm a Danish abstract mixed media artist who likes to do all sorts of things. So if you're into slow stitching, collaging with both paper and fabrics, and jelly printing and making books, you have come to the right channel. And look for the playlists for what interests you. There are probably things that doesn't interest you, so look at the subjects that interest you. But this is all about circles and stitching in all kinds of different ways. So yeah, there's also a link for the video where I made not this here, but how I got the cover together. You can see that, but I will put this aside, and you're in for something new today, hopefully. You're probably wondering why I have put this plastic with a lot of paint left over here on my table, but that is because I want to take a piece of, today we're going to stitch on paper or watercolor paper, and if you don't have watercolor paper, you can probably use cardstock paper instead. And if you don't like to stitch on paper, you can find a piece of fabric, I think. Yeah, so I will just do that before I start explaining the simple Dogma Rules that is for this week 2. So here is a piece of, this is 200 DSM. It is not so heavy, it could be much heavier, but I think it's okay to stitch onto. And here I have a bottle of coffee, and then I will just spray the whole paper here, and I think I will use my finger a little perhaps here. And it looks quite dark right now, but don't worry, this would be a little lighter when it dries. And if you don't have coffee or you drink tea, you can do it with tea. That doesn't matter. But that would have to dry before we can do anything else. So I would just let it sit there and talk a little about what my plans for today is, or what the Dogma Rules for week 2 is. And when this is dry, we are going to cut a square so it can be in our book, so we can glue it in our book. And then I will trace a circle just with a pencil. And then it is about double running stitches today. And I haven't quite figured out which color I want to use now, or how I want to do the stitching, but double running stitches is like you do ordinary running stitches, up and down and up and down and up and down, and you can take the same color and go the backwards and come up and down opposite of where the stitches was already. That is a double running stitch. And I think it is nice to do them in 2 colors, so that is what I have been thinking of doing today. But depending on this here, I will find out what colors I want to use. So the Dogma Rules for once is draw a circle on fabric or watercolor paper or cardstock or whatever you want to do, and use double running stitches in 2 colors, and you can do anything you like inside that circle you have drawn. You can, it is up to you what size you want to do, or yeah, most of the things here are, there's the rules: draw or trace a circle and do double running stitches in 2 colors, whatever you fancy to do inside that circle with that stitch. Okay, so it will take a little before this dry, I think, but I will be back. I think my paper is so dry so we can work further. I also forgot to say the few simple Dogma rules, I will put them in not the description box but under more, and you can find them there. And again, I will also put a link to the Facebook group where you can, if you are a member, and you can post pictures of what you're doing, and I hope a lot of you will be taking part of this. It is so lovely and nice and funny to see all the different ways people do things. So since my book is about 15 by 15 centimeters, or the pages in the book are, I will start cutting this 14 and by 14 centimeters, and I will see how it looks. This is a self-healing cutting mat and a Stanley knife, and I will just cut it like this. That was one way, and but of course you can draw a line and take your scissor and cut if you don't have these things here. It isn't a must. You must use what you have and be glad for the things you have. You can get along with a few things and a little equipment. So this is the size I think will look nice, but we can try to take this one out of the cover here and see. Yeah, I think it's okay. It is a little big perhaps, but if I want to use a biggest circle here, it has to be that, or else I would have to be using that one instead, or find another thing. Boop, boop, boop. I think I will cut a centimeter more in both directions, and you don't need to see me do that, but I will be back when I've cut a centimeter more off. Yeah, I think this looks better with a little white border around like this. So this ended up being 13 by 13 centimeters here for my book. But again, you can do it any size you want, and if you don't have tea or coffee, you can perhaps use watercolor, or yeah, there are so many options. Yeah, let me see. I think this is too big now, so I think I will go for this one here, and then I will find my boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I thought I was prepared, but I forgot my pencil here, so I will just trace around here on the paper like that, and I think it is quite okay. I just eyeballed it. Yeah, so when you're stitching into paper or watercolor paper or cardstock, you can choose to pre-poke your holes in advance, or you can just go for it. This paper isn't so thick, so perhaps I could go for it here, but I think I would like to pre-poke my holes in advance here. And I have such a plastic thing for some packaging. It is some kind of packaging materials. It is an awful color, but it works quite well. I have this piece here, this little tool, and it's a tool my hubby has made for me. It is a wooden handle where he has put a part from a compass in here, and then I can screw on that little wheel there and take the needle out and change it to a bigger needle if I want a bigger needle. And that is a really nice tool, but it isn't something he sells or produces, so I have this one, and there will be no more than this one. But you can so easily make a tool yourself. You have to have a corkscrew of some kind, and I can see I have been drinking champagne here, and that's a nice thing. So drink a bottle of champagne, save the corkscrew, take a stick as thin as a darning needle as you would like to poke with, push it up in the corkscrew and give it a dab of glue, and then you have a nice thing here to hold on. I also think some of that you can buy so many different beers these days. I don't drink beer, but I know, and some of them also have these corkscrews on, if you don't want to buy a bottle of champagne. But it is also really nice to poke with this, and that will cost you nothing but the bottle and the fun of it. And then you can have this little tool here. I have this awful plastic packing thing here, so it is nice to make pokes or poke your holes into that here. So I will just show you how I do it. And there's one thing that is important if you want to make double running stitches in 2 colors. You will have to make an even amount of holes in your paper. And that is because you want a nice circle where it ends with one color, another color, one color, another color, and you end up with the right color as the last stitch, as every second stitch is a different color. So an even amount of holes you have to poke. And the only way, the way I do it is I just eyeball it. But if you're into a lot of measuring, you can of course do that. But I just poke through here, and then I count. And sorry if I'm counting in Danish, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Here it says 31 and 32. And that is too long here, so I will have to squeeze 2 stitches in here. So stop a little before you come to the first hole, and then you must place them the best you can for the last 2 holes. So perhaps they are a little closer there, but yeah, that is what it is. So, but even numbers of holes, you can see they sit here on the back side. If you, for instance, got to put a stitch and a hole down there, there shouldn't be one. You can turn it over and do it like this with your nail, or put a little water or something on and do it like this, and you can hardly see it afterwards. So that is nice to know. So yeah, that is the way I poke the holes when I'm doing running stitches or double running stitches in a circle. It doesn't matter so much if you are doing running stitches with the same color, then it doesn't matter so much. But I have already poked holes all the way around here in this piece here, you can see. And I started here with a little snoot of the thread, and I don't like big fat knots on my thread. Yeah, I like knots on my thread, but not when I'm stitching into paper. And so I will just take a little piece of tape and secure my end here. And that is because when I'm putting this in my book later and there is a big fat knot, it will make a bubble there over, and I don't like that. That was just a little extra. And what else can I say about the stitching? It is quite different to stitch in paper or watercolor paper than it is to stitch into to fabric. And of course it depends on how thick your thread is, but the smaller needle you can sew with and the smaller holes you can poke, the nicer it looks. It doesn't look very nice if you make a big hole and you have a thin thread. Then it doesn't just look nice. So the smaller needles you can thread, the better. So I will just come up and go down like any other normal running stitch here. There's one thing that's a little different also, and that is if you're one of those who are used to stitch on fabric in a hoop, you can't do it in one workway like you can here. There you go up and down in one workway, and you can't do that here. Then you will buckle your paper. And that's not nice for the paper. But it looks like this when I have been all the way around with my even amount of holes. So now I think I will see how it looks with this thread here, if it is too pale, or I want to find another thread and do another round with that. I think it would be that one, but we will see. I just started with the off-white thread, and I have not cut the black thread off. It will just be hanging there because I think I will do a couple of more rounds this way here. So I will just go opposite now on what I did before. So I will go in between the black stitches. There's nothing difficult in this stitch, but if you never have been stitching into paper before, so just be a little careful. I really like to stitch on paper. That is one of my favorite things to do. But I can also see that my very pointy needles, they get worn out much faster here when I'm stitching into paper than if I'm stitching only into fabric. So, but that wouldn't prevent me in doing this paper stitching. I really like it. You see that looks nice. So I will continue until I end up with where I started and show it to you. I really think this looks nice, and now both my threads are dangling here under, but I think I want to make another circle and a little smaller perhaps. So again I will take my tin plate here and just, it is a little difficult because I'm sitting a little away, so, but I think that looks nice here. And again I will just trace it like this. Yeah, it was not so in the middle, but it is what it is. So again I will start poking a lot of holes. So I think I can perhaps just eyeball them out from here, but I really don't know if I can do that. I haven't tried this before, but perhaps I can try. So I will just follow the ones all around here. But you don't need me seeing poking all these holes, so I will show them when I'm done. So, done with the poking, and there are 52 small holes here again. So now the $100 question is, do I want white over white or do I want black over white? Yeah, I really don't know. What do you think? Sorry, can't hear you. But probably half of you are saying one thing and the half of you are saying another thing. So I think I would do it opposite, just to be a little funny here. So all the way up and down again. Oh yeah, sometimes it can be very difficult to hit that small hole. So but I think you got it now, so I will do it all the way around with the white and black and be back and see if there's anything more I want to do. And away with that ugly pink paper, not paper, plastic thing there. But I think it looks quite nice. So done with it, the two rounds here, and I think I want to do a smaller round in the middle here. So again, I will take my template here and I think perhaps this one will be the best. I think I will have to stand up to see if I'm somewhere in the middle. It is quite difficult when you have a phone sitting up there to see what you're doing. Let me go for this. I really hope it is. Yeah. I think I would do it outside camera, so I'm sure I will hit it in the middle. Sorry. Another way you can be sure to make an even amount of holes is doing like I have shown in other videos also. I start poking at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and then I poke at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And then I eyeball it in between. So it will be there and there and there and there. And again, between that hole and that hole, I will make two holes, and that I will just eyeball also. I think it is okay, it isn't totally neat, because it is man-made and not a machine who has made it. But of course, it has to look fine. So that is another way you can poke holes. And I will do exactly the same again here inside this little one here. And I can see I think I have enough black thread here. So I will just jump into one of the holes and start going all the way around. I don't think it matters where I put these stitches, because I haven't been counting them, but they're a lot fewer than in these rounds. There were 52. There isn't a 52 here. So, but I will do that round and then I will show it to you. So here it is done with all the stitching, the double running stitches, and I think it looks nice. And I don't mind there's some splatters of coffee there. One of the nice things about dyeing your papers or spraying your papers with coffee is that they smell so nice. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I like the smell of it. Of course, you could have chosen to do many other different things inside your traced circle with these double running stitches, and I hope some of you will do other things that I have been doing. It is totally up to you what you want to do with the running stitches inside the traced circle. So to sum it up, coffee dyed, sprayed watercolor paper, first Dogma Rules, second Dogma Rules, trace the circle, do double, that was the second Dogma Rules, and the third Dogma Rules is only use double running stitches in 2 different colors, and the colors are totally up to you, and you can do whatever you want to do inside the traced circle. So I would put it in my book here. So as I said earlier, I have chosen not to sew my pieces in the book because I don't want, because I do it on both sides of the paper, so I don't want to have stitches through from both sides. So that is, yeah, that's just me, but you can do whatever you want to do. So I will just put this on here and turn it around and cut it off. And be careful not to cut in your piece. And then I will really burnish it down here. And now we are onto the thing I hate to do on camera, and that is to lift this plastic thing off. Yeah, oh, it went well today, because maybe it's because it was on paper. So I will again try to eyeball it the best I can and push it down here. And I'm sure it will be much flatter when I close my book and come back next time. So yeah. And if you want to do it, you can write here behind week. I don't know why I try to write it in English, but that's perhaps because that's why I'm speaking here, but it would be much easier for me to write it in Danish. Rule number 1, coffee, sprayed, watercolor paper. 2, trace a circle. And 3, double running stitches, and I'm auto STETCHOES, double running stitches with 2 different colors. I know that the American and the English, they spell colors differently. My spelling controller, Google there, it always corrects me when I'm spelling it one of the ways. So yeah, but I hope you know what I mean. But I will also put the 3 Dogma Rules in the place where it says more under the video. So I hope you will give it a try to stitch into paper. I really like to do it, and of course it is a little different, but you can make such lovely things stitching on paper. So give it a try, and I really hope some of you will attend this group and show what you're doing. It is so nice to see what other people are doing and how they take this few dogma rules. So I would just say, if you like this, please give my video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very helpful of you, and I would appreciate it very much. So take care and be creative until next Thursday. Bye bye for now.